Welcome on in, my Ashwings, to another installment of the A to Z Commoner series for the High Seas meta in Flesh and Blood. That's right. Everybody has just been enjoying the Commoner formats, and I wanted to make sure that I'm at least providing some form of content every single week. And I'm happy to continue making these videos, and I'm hoping y'all are enjoying them. Really, I just love being able to brew a deck, get it set up for people. I know that people often will look at my deck techs and bring them to their own commoner armories, or even just play around with them in other formats. And it really does mean a lot. So I hope that you are enjoying them. And please feel free, as always, to leave feedback in the comments below. But let's today talk about our next hero that we are looking at. This is the last of the A heroes in Commoner as of the High Seas meta, which is Azalea. So Azalea being a very powerful ranger, there's a lot of text on that little blurb there, but effectively her ability says that you can pay 0 to put a card from your arsenal to the bottom of your deck. And then if you do, you take the top card of your deck and you flip it face up into your arsenal. If that card that gets put face up into your arsenal is an arrow, it will gain Dominate until the end of the turn. So what her whole ability is to pretty much play a lot of cards that allow you to look at the top card of your deck. And then if you're looking at the top card of your deck, you then can kind of manipulate to see whether or not you're going to be able to put an arrow on the top. And then with knowing that you have an arrow on top, you utilize the cards in your hand and the resources you have to put that arrow into your arsenal face up, pay any resources that you might need to then send that arrow at your opponent, and try to beat them with the Dominate keyword. Dominate being that you can only block with one card from your hand. So if your opponent does have a D-React in arsenal, they can also block with that D-React. But if they are playing with any of these other cards, from their hand, or they have other blocks or something of the sort, they're unable to block with them. Now, of course, there you have cards like Oasis Respite that can block some stuff out at instant speed, but normally most people aren't running those into Azalea. But let's go over the deck really quick, kind of talk about how it plays, talk about our arrow choices, and then move into some games. So Death Dealer is our arrow, or our bow in the situation here. This allows you to pay a resource, and if you have no cards in your arsenal, you put an arrow from your hand face up into the arsenal, and if you do, you then draw a card. So this is very effective in being able to replace the card that you pitched with the card from your hand, and then putting an arrow into your arsenal, because arrows can only be fired from your arsenal. You can't play them like you would a regular attack action. Crow's Nest is also here just because it happens to be. In most cases, you're not going to be utilizing its effect to add an aim counter onto something, but if something does get a bonus from having an aim counter and you have additional resources, you very well could take full advantage of that. Of course, we have the Wayfinder's Crest for the headpiece. This allows you to look at the top card of your deck when it defends. So if you are blocking out on a turn in which you want to keep your whole hand, this allows you to see whether or not you have an arrow on the top of your deck. Normally, this is better if you have an arrow already in arsenal, or a card in your arsenal. That way you can make sure that you are just doing a quick switch, because remember, if you activate Death Dealer, you're going to draw that card. So keep that in mind whenever you are performing that step. We have Snapdragon Scalers because all of our arrows cost 0 or 1, so you can give them go again, and then you can also load another arrow at least into your arsenal with Bullseye Bracer. Bullseye Bracer does not block, but of course you can put an arrow from your hand face up into your arsenal, and it gains +1 until the end of turn. So if you are trying to follow up with 2 big arrows, that is going to be the best bet there for you. Blossom of Spring is also there to pay for anything you might need. Let's say you have only an arrow in hand. You can use the Blossom of Spring to pay for the Death Dealer to put that arrow into your arsenal and then draw a card, and then drawing that card might also allow you to then fire that arrow if it costs 1, or if it's a pump, you can play something like a +3 to your next attack and then swing that 0 cost arrow to have it come in for, 6 or 7 or something of the sort there. So pretty good stuff. Love to see it. And frankly, it's going to be a very, very great suite. You're not really blocking with your armor. It's It's mainly there to give you resources, and it's kind of more of an aggro deck style. So we have Call in the Big Guns here. Let's just kind of go over the deck real quick in the main board here. You're playing Call in the Big Guns to, of course, put cards into your arsenal and also get +3. It's a much better reload effect than actually reload, because some of these cards care about being put into the arsenal face up as opposed to in the arsenal at all. Cards such as Dry Powder Shot, this is a 0 cost 3 power arrow, but if it's put face up in your arsenal, it gets +2. So it's a 0 for 5. Pretty great. Falcon Wing, if it's got an aim counter on it, this will get +1, and then it also has Go Again. So it's a great way for you to just send out an arrow and then maybe even load in another one with Bullseye Bracers or with Death Dealer to threaten a little bit more damage. Fatigue Shot, we're only running one of. This is just a great way to kind of force your opponent to have a poor attack plan. This is really great into Guardians because their 8s become like 4s, or their 6s become 3s. So it's a lot easier for you to block if you need to, or notably if they're trying to get a crush effect on you. Hamstring Shot makes your opponent's stuff cost 1 more if it hits, so it makes it a more difficult line for aggro players. Infecting Shot just gives you Blood Rot Pox tokens, which is great towards the end game because most heroes are not going to have the resources to go to try and kill you and also pay for a Blood Rot Pox token. So it's kind of a do or die situation. We are running Long Shot. This effectively, if it's got an aim counter, it's going to be just like Dry Powder Shot. So a 0 for 5 is really, really good. And notably, we do have the ability to put aim counters on things from Crow's Nest. So not too terrible. Murkmire Grapnel, 0 for 4 arrow, very good. If it's got an aim counter, it's got +1, so it's a 0 for 5 if it's got the aim counter. We have Nimblism to pump up our attacks. We have Overflex to reload a card into our arsenal. Now, notably, the card will go face down if you choose to reload. So you don't exactly need to reload because it is a May ability. But this will at least get +4 onto your next arrow, which is a lot of damage. Pathing Helix, 0 for 4. If it hits, you can put the top card of your deck into your arsenal. Pretty good. Point the Tip, a great way to put an aim counter on an already face-up arrow. So for any reason, if you load in this Long Shot and it doesn't have an aim counter, you can then play Point the Tip to give it an aim counter and give it +3 to have it come in for a whopping 8 damage for 2-card 8. Very good. Ravenous Rabble. This allows you to look at the top card of your deck. You can play a Ravenous Rabble from your, arsenal if you really wanted to, and then you can look at the top card of your deck, or really you're going to want to play it from hand probably. So you play it from hand, you look at the top card of your deck, see if it's an arrow. If it is, that's great. It'll probably also come in for 4, and then you're going to want to make sure to try and dominate that arrow with any pumps you might have. Read the Glide Path. This allows you to opt, lets you look at the top card of your deck so you can see whether or not there's an arrow up there. Scar for a Scar, if you happen to be on the back foot, because again, you're not really going to want to block, Scar for a Scar allows you to present a little bit more of those breakpoints. So you can send 4 with a Scar for a Scar with Go Again, send 4 with a Ravenous Rabble or some arrow also. Scout the Periphery allows you to look at the top card of your deck. Scouting Shot, this is really great. I mean, to look at the top card of the deck is already awesome, but when this is put face up into your arsenal, you can then look at the top card of your deck. Huge amount of value because you get to utilize Death Dealer to just then put this in there to look at the top card. Just everything you want to do. Now, notably in this situation, you have the effect of Scouting Shot first, and then you draw a card from Death Dealer if you load it in through there. So keep that in mind. If you are doing this, you look at the top card of your deck, and then Death Dealer allows you to go ahead and draw that card. So there's no real reason to look, but when you're using it with something like Called in the Big Guns puts it into there and then allows you to go ahead and look at the top card of your deck, which is awesome because it means that you can then see if there's an arrow up there and you can utilize Azalea's ability. Searing Shot, 0 for 4. If it hits, they lose another 1, so it's effectively a 0 for 5. Sleep Dart, a 1 for 5 arrow that turns off your opponent's hero ability. This is pretty good into most of the heroes in the meta, but I mean, it's just a good arrow to have. Memorial Ground, this is so you can recur your arrows. I tend to recur arrows that are 0 for 5s in a way, just because you don't really have a whole lot of great one cost options, but if you are going to get one cost backs, it's going to probably be Infecting Shot or Hamstring Shot. Those are great choices. It notably also puts them on top of the deck. So you're going to want to activate Death Dealer first and then play Memorial Ground and then put an arrow on top and then use Azalea's ability. Spire Sniping also is a way for you to look at the top 2 cards of your deck. So you're normally never going to want to shoot this thing, but you're able to look at the top 2 cards of your deck if it is put or turned face up in the arsenal. That allows you to then go about looking at the top 2 cards. You don't get to put them on the bottom or anything, but you can change their order. So if you know that there is a pump and then an arrow, and you've put this into your arsenal with a Death Dealer, what you can do is you can put the pump on top and then the arrow. That way, you know you're drawing into the pump, and then you're able to Azalea into the arrow side of things. It's a very big sequencing thing, but it's going to make sense when you start seeing it. And then Arcane Polarity for the arcane matchups. That's pretty straightforward there. You're pretty much going to want to get rid of probably get rid of Fatigue Shot and Sleep Dart if you're playing Arcane Polarity. And then Frailty Trap for any of the go wide weapon heroes. So warriors and ninjas tend to be a good thing to put in there as well. And then Sink Below more so for the Guardians. Also, in case you want to do any kind of like hand fixing, Sink Below is also a great target for being able to just block properly. So this is the hero. This is Azalea. So let's go ahead and run her into the Talishar queue in Commoner, see whether or not we get some good choices of heroes to play up against, and see if we can get some wins on the favorite Ranger in the Commoner format. All right. Looks like our player 2 is set up to be Dash Database. So let's go ahead and see exactly how this is going to work out. We're going to go ahead and give them the quick hello and the good luck, have fun. I think there's a world in which we probably just don't bother with anything here. Like Frailty Trap might be a thing if they're trying to do Symbiosis Shot, but I don't think they are. So I'm just going to send it. So we'll see whether or not that was the right call. Luckily, our hand blocks pretty well here. And we don't have any pumps. So I think I'm going to try and keep a Infecting Shot in hand, maybe. We'll see exactly how that works out. But I will just block with a long shot here. I'll let them leak a little bit of damage. They don't have a Boom Grenade out, so that's fine. There's the Boom Grenade. Gotcha. Okay, so we do have a pump here. What I'll go ahead and do, I think it might actually be better. So let's see here. Azalea. We do a Death Dealer. We pitch a Dry Powder Shot. We put an Infecting Shot in. We draw a Searing Shot. We then can go ahead and play a Point the Tip. And then we're just going to go ahead and send the Infecting Shot with that. And then we'll keep the Searing Shot in Arsenal. 9 on-hit Blood Rot Pox is kind of crazy. All right. Yeah, we'll just put this in Arsenal. This is going to be a hand I'm going to have to block, huh? Outpace, sure. This comes in for 4. I might just say no blocks here so we can get rid of the Boom Grenade. Do they pop the vest here? They do pop the vest here, so it's going to be kind of wild. 0 to 60 boosted. I think this one, what we'll do, we do have the Searing Shot. We have some pumps. I'm going to put this here and then block like this. What do we have on top? We got the Boom Grenade off. That's crazy. Okay, cool. Target myself. I have a Pathing Helix on top. So I can send 7 Dominate. I can give Scar for a Scar and then give 7 Dominate, which is kind of insane. So I might even be able to Scar for a Scar, Scar for a Scar, and then 7 Dominate. I think I'm going to not block here. So again, I want to be lower. Okay. Come on, Talishar. Let's get with it. There we go. Down to 4. Gonna want to refresh the page there. There we go. And then Goliath Gauntlet, throttle for 6, and then they can shoot me. I think we just go ahead and we take. So it is a 0 for 4. If I take 2, so I have to give my whole hand here, huh? And they're going to take 2. I'm definitely going to want them to try and shoot me. Oh, this is kind of rough. No, we'll see whether or not they do or they don't. I don't think they're gonna, but they do have 2 action points. They actually kill me here because they pop their. They have the action points. I'm just kidding. I die. Wow. All right. Well, good game. That was really, really good of them. We don't have any blocking power, so we just kind of die here. All right. Well, that was fun. Kind of crazy to see that kind of stuff occur in the first 2 turns we were at. But they had a pretty great line there with just 1 card pitched. We were able to send 9. They said no blocks and took a Blood Rod Pox. And then they proceeded to send everything. What was their end here? What did they send? They threatened 29 damage that turn. And of course, that was just because we let boom grenades hit. I think there's a world, and if we just kept blocking and then didn't let the boom grenades hit, obviously we'd live a little bit longer, but we tried to keep it lower. I guess I didn't know what they had, so it is what it is. But we'll move on to the next one, and we'll see whether or not we get blown out in that one too. All right. It looks like we have a hero. Looks like we're going to fight Oldham. I think our best bet here is to go first and just kind of set up a nice arsenal target. There's a world in which I kind of want to bring in the D-Reacts, but I don't think I need to do it. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and send it here. It's probably a significantly more defensive deck, so we're probably not worried too much about actually getting hit with anything. So, all right, so we're going to go first. Let's go ahead and just threaten some damage here. We'll see if we can maybe get some armor pieces from our opponent, or if we get a. We'll probably just end up getting a an Oldham reaction here too. So there's 3. They will take the 1. Okay, interesting. I wonder if that's because they have Scar for a Scar. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's Death Dealer. We're gonna Death Dealer. We're gonna pitch this Murkmire Grapnel to put the Spire Sniping in Arsenal. Scouting Shot and a Periphery. So we put this on top. And then this on top. Oh, never mind. I did that wrong, I guess. Oh, well. Well, yeah. Yeah, we did it wrong. It's whatever. It's whatever. I was like, I swore we had. Wait a minute. But I guess we drew a card already. So maybe this isn't how it's supposed to work through these means. That's strange. Anyway, I'll just put this in Arsenal. We'll see if they have the Scar for a Scar. They're definitely on the more. They have Entangle, though, which is really interesting. There's a Wounded Bull. We're getting not a whole lot of like crazy things here. I think there's a world in which I maybe block 3 and then I just take 5. And then what I can do here is I can probably scout. Look at the top. There's a scout on top. Okay. So we're going to send this Pathing Helix for 7. might not be a terrible turn here, actually. Curious how much damage we actually get off of this. 3, and then 5, 7. Okay, we're going to Snapdragon Scalers then. We are then going to Death Dealer. Pitch this to put this in here. There's a Ravenous Rabble on top. That's okay. We'll just do that again. We'll send Periphery. Target myself. I know what's on top. Send that for 7. So it's probably the strongest hand we're going to have into Oldhim. But we still get to present some damage here. Notably, I think they're going to try and get below us here so they can send something like a Findal's Fighting Spirit or maybe another Wounded Bull. This looks to be a little bit more of an aggressive version of the deck. So it keeps us at 15. This isn't a bad hand to start here either, so get the Sotomaro banished, put something on there. 4. I think I just take 4 here. Okay. I think we do this first. I think we Death Dealer first. Put this in here. We can then go ahead and do a call on the big guns. So we're going to Scar for a Scar. We'll see how much value we can get. I mean, they have a lot of blocking potential here, so pretty good for them. So this could be a turn in which we do that, and then we can Blossom of Spring, Overflex. If there's a 0 for 4 on the top of the deck, right? Play this. There's a 0 for 4 on the top of the deck. Okay. Not too shabby. So we could send that. We 3, 6, 10 dominate. Yeah. Do this. We'll do this. This. I will not pay 1. I don't have anything there. Then 10 dominate. They're going to have to give me their armor here. And a card from hand. And I still leak 5. We still have a block card here to care about. And notably, we have the Bullseye Bracer still. So I'm going to take 4. And they're going to gain from fruits. Okay. Tunic. Okay, that's cool. 7, they gain a life. How do we deal enough damage here? We're going to block with this. And then we're just going to see what's on top. I have a Memorial Ground, so I can choose an Infecting Shot on top. Okay. So what's the math look like for this one here, right? They have 2 block value on this turn. We have an Infecting Shot on top. So we can do well, we can do a Memorial Ground to put something on top here too. So we can put like a Scouting Shot on top, which isn't terrible either. So if we put a Scouting Shot on top, we notably don't get a bump. So it's kind of rough. See what we can do here. So we can get it to 7. They can block here, here, and then a card from hand for 5, and then also Oldhim React for 7. So they can block out the whole thing. So we probably shouldn't get too crazy with it. So I think what we'll do is we'll just do this instead. We will Death Dealer. We'll do the... I think I might just pitch the thing to do a Hamstring Shot. Well, No, it's probably Sleep Dart is the better one here. Put a Sleep Dart in here. Then we can play. Yeah, I don't know. Like Scouting Shot isn't terrible either, but I mean, Scouting Shot's just going to get us 7. So this would get us 8, which is good, but it's 8 full block. Which we still get to put this in the arsenal here too. So this, and then this, and then put this in the arsenal. So not the end of the world, I guess. Okay, 8, turn off the hero power. Okay, full 8. That's fine. We got 2 D-reacts off of them. Crush the Weak. Yeah, that's a card, all right. I'll tell you what. This might just be a. This might just be a send Infecting Shot. Put Infecting Shot in arsenal. Block 6. Yep. We'll just hope they don't have it, right? So 5 damage. This is definitely a deck that I don't know that we truly beat that, right? They've gone through 3 D-reacts now in the deck. We're at lower life, so we have the opportunity to block okay here. There's 7. So we can block 5, take 2, and then we can Scar for a Scar. Send Infecting Shot. Yeah, I think that's what we'll have to do. So we'll block. I think I'll block like this, though, because I'll keep the Nimblers in hand. So we'll take 2. Definitely not an easy deck to go about doing here, too. So we'll Scar for a Scar, then 4, and then 5, which is technically still threatening lethal, right? So, okay. Another Crush the Weak. So we can only block. We have to block 6. Let's do that then. Let's block. Well, we have to block 6. We can't block 7. We have to block 6. Which notably means that I think we. I guess we just block 8 then. I'll keep the Read the Glide Path in the arsenal. See what else they've got. They're not running Pummel for sure. They could have just gotten a really bunk hand. There's 8. Okay, so I have to block like this. No. Oh no, stop. I have to block like this. Yeah. That's fine. We are then going to read the glide path. We are going to put that on the bottom. I don't know that we have the ability to do much else. I'm just going to try and send 7 and hope they don't have good blocks here. Or 8. They can block with their chess piece. That gives me a vigor token, which is notably not good for them. Okay. This is a D-react. So they're still going to take 9. So they're down to 2. Yeah, Nacho Grande kills me. So, yep, that'll do it. That'll be the game there. So, unfortunate for us, but hey, that's just how Guardian be. So, but not a bad game. I mean, we still got them down to 2. I mean, we were threatening a lot of damage. I think that was really what it came down to is like, you take a look at the amount of damage we were threatening was 13 and 18, but we really dealt half of that effectively in these turns. Like this 18 was down to 9, and the 13 got brought down to like a 4. But when we look at the other side here, they weren't really threatening a whole lot of damage. They just were able to get a lot more of it off because I don't really want to block it. Dominate's just a really, really key keyword in the format. And obviously, if you have it, you got it, right? And notably, Guardian tends to have it a lot. This is definitely a different build than the Oldhim that I would normally see. Seems to be a bit more on the aggressive side, but still quite a powerful build. But yeah, so let's go ahead and do a quick recap of the Azalea deck and see exactly how it worked out. All right, so overall, the deck performed kind of in the way I exactly wanted it to. I feel like we were able to get those really powerful turns off. It really does shine very well into a more defensive deck. We did get blown up by that Dash database, and then when it came to fighting the Oldhim just really is able to defend really well. D-reacts are abundant, so I'm curious whether or not there's a world in which me playing something like the Increase the Tension is a good choice for Azalea in this format here. But overall, I think we were able to present a lot of damage. We were able to threaten a lot there. We could have blind Azalea at the end to see if we were able to get something along the lines of a, whatever, dominate on there. But even still, even if we were, it would have come in for 7, it would have come in for 7. And with it coming in for 7, they had a card from hand to block with and also 1 piece of armor. So would have blocked 5. They would have taken 2. Wouldn't have been enough. So really, it just kind of comes down to who draws better. Oldham's got a great suite of cards, and Dash Database, of course, had kind of like the best cards. If they didn't have boom grenades off the top, or were able to keep the boom grenades early enough, they didn't see them early enough, that game would have probably been different and more in our favor. But overall, I think this deck functions. It may not have won any of the games, but I think it functions as it's supposed to kind of teach you a little bit about how Azalea works and her overall game plan into most heroes. So if this is a video that you enjoyed and you wanted to, you learned something about Azalea in Commoner, and maybe you wanted to build her and change up some things that maybe fit your play style a little bit more, feel free to go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel as well if you have not already. Of course, let me know in the comments down below how y'all feel about the overall series that we're doing here of A to Z, and then also how you felt about the Azalea deck as well. I'd love to hear from your feedback. A lot of people out there are playing Commoner. A lot of people have found things that work for them and things that have not. And so sharing is caring. That's why I'm doing all this here for you as well. So thank you all so much for being a part of this wonderful community. If you wanted to join our Discord, we do have a Discord in the description down below. You can also become a channel member if you wish. Channel members assist the channel immensely, and I can't thank y'all enough for spending your hard-earned money on somebody like me. So thank you all so much. I really do appreciate you, and I hope you continue to have fun in the flesh and blood. And I will see all of you in our next video for the A to Z Commoner series.